Good morning. We are once again welcome to this online teaching. How has been the lockdown? Our prayer is that shortly the federal government will reopen schools generally, so that we can be back to school. Thank you. Today we have a topic titled verbs. Verbs. On a general note, you have been taught that verbs are action words and it ends there. But at your level, it should not end there. So what is a verb? Verbs are words which express actions, state events or processes, and make statements. Below are the examples of how verbs perform the functions stated above. Number 1. The girl is sweeping the floor. That expresses an action. Number 2. The birthday party takes place next week. That states an event. Of course, you know that a birthday is an event. Alright? Good. Number 3. The boy used to be brilliant in school. That makes a statement. Alright. Let's look at type or classification of verbs. Type and classification of verbs. Types and classification of verbs. Verbs are of two main types. There are major verbs which express the various actions, either transitive or intransitive, finite or non-finite, that we perform every day. The other type is referred to as auxiliary verbs. Now let's take it one after the other. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are used with a direct object. Please take note of that. Transitive verbs are used with a direct object, while intransitive verbs do not have a direct object. The examples below shed more light on these classes of verbs. Now let's take a look of the examples. The boy ate his meals. Transitive. Why is it transitive? It is having a direct object. And the direct object here is what? Is the meal. His meals. His meal. The meal there is a direct object. Then 2. The book got lost. Intransitive. There is no direct object. C. The boy slapped the girl. The girl here is the direct object, so it's transitive. Sam sleeps early every night. Intransitive. We don't have direct object in that sentence. Okay. 2. We have verbs in active and passive voice. Verbs in active and what? Passive voice. Let's take a look of this. These classes of verbs have to do with the subject in a sentence. These classes of verbs have to do with the subject in a sentence. Be reminded that a subject in a sentence is the doer of the action of the verb. Therefore, a verb becomes active when the subject is the doer of the action of the verb. However, a verb becomes passive when the subject is the receiver of the action of the verb. Now, take a look of these examples. Number 1. The INEC chairman announced the winner of the election. Active voice. The winner of the election was announced by the INEC chairman. Passive voice. Why is it active and passive? The INEC chairman there is active because he's opening the sentence, is the subject of the sentence. Okay? While the winner of the election was announced by the INEC chairman, it makes it passive because the INEC chairman has now become the passive voice. Number 3. The students protested the increase in school fee. The students protested the increase in school fee. Active voice. The number 4 examples, but not the least. Increase in school fees was protested by the students. Passive voice. Number 3, we have finite and non-finite verbs. Finite and non-finite verbs. This aspect of verbs classification is very important and relevant. It indicates which of the many forms of verbs are finite and non-finite. Therefore, verbs are said to be finite when they react or respond to changes in elements such as persons, number, tense in a sentence. In simpler words, finite verbs change their forms as a result of changes in persons, number, and tense. Below are examples of how finite verbs react to changes in the elements stated above. Look at it now. I have seen him. He has seen him. I have seen him. He has seen him. Good. Let's see changes in number reflected in verb forms. He is a good man. Singular. They are good men. Plural. He is a good man. Singular. They are good men. Plural. Verbs reaction to changes in tense. He is sleeping. He is sleeping. And 2, he was sleeping. You get that? He is sleeping. He was sleeping. Okay? The first sentence above expresses a present continuous action, while the second sentence expresses a past continuous action. Do you get that? Good. Let's look at number 4. Non-finite or infinitive verbs. Non-finite or infinitive verbs. Non-finite or infinitive verbs do not change when there are changes in the elements of persons, tense, or number. The examples below make the principle very clear. Let's look at it now. Number 1 example, the boy went to bed early yesterday. The boys went to bed early yesterday. Is that clear? Alright, by this, we want to say bye for today. But before then, let's just have a recap of the lesson of today. So far, so good. We have been able to discuss on verbs. We've seen the meaning of a verb. What is a verb? We've discussed what is a verb. We've also discussed type or classification of verbs. Okay? Please try to attempt this assignment. Number 1, define a verb at your level SS class, not just at your, the initial definition you have been having. Okay, based on this lesson online, define a verb. Number 2, explain the 4 classification of verbs with 2 examples each. On this note, we have come to the end of the lesson. See you next time in our next edition. Please stay home and stay safe. God bless you. Bye-bye.